Our beautiful facilitator is here with us. Drum roll. Drum roll, please say a big welcome to her. She's here with us. Okay, so let me read her bio quickly. So Mrs. Odunayo, Sanya has multi-sectoral experience spanning the education, financial services, development, telecommunications sector. She currently serves as the Executive Secretary, MTN Foundation. And prior to this, she was the General Manager, Planning and Customer Management for MTN Nigeria PLC, a multinational ICT/telecommunications organization with footprints across Africa and the Middle East. She's an alumnus of the Lagos Business School and the Institute of Management Development, Switzerland, with executive training from Harvard Business School and Cornell University. Odunayo is a certified John Maxwell coach, speaker, and trainer. She's a certified DISC trainer, and she's also a process certified change management practitioner. She's an author of the book, The Alphabets of Leadership for Young Minds, and she's listed on the United States, which is listed on the United States Library of Congress. She's passionate about leadership, youth development, social innovation. She is married and blessed with sorry, did I read that right? She is married and blessed with 3 beautiful daughters. So ladies and gentlemen, oh, did I say gentlemen? No, gentlemen, ladies, let's welcome our facilitator for today. You know, like I said, she is the best at her job when it comes to customer experience and customer management. I really do not know anyone globally who has a depth of expertise and experience as she does. So ladies, you are in for another wonderful masterclass as I present to you the Queen of Customer Experience, Mrs. Odunayo Sanya. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Sheyi. Indeed, the Queen of Customer Experience. Thank you, Anita. Anita says, welcome, Queen. Okay, standing ovation. Hey, I'm also giving you guys a standing ovation. First of all, I need to apologize. I had to be at my daughter's school this morning, and it was quite a drive. I had to do the driving. And coming back, Lagos doesn't sleep, whether in the afternoon or in the morning or at night. It's just been crazy. So I'd like to thank the over 100 people on the call. Thank you so much for exercising your staying power. Okay, so let me, Sheyi, I can share my screen, can I? Okay, so we'll start with an exercise. I believe everyone can hear me. Please let me know, perchance you can't hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Super. Okay, so let's start with this exercise I always do. I just want all of us queens and ladies, to close our eyes. Let's close our eyes, and it's not so much of a meditation, but just close your eyes. I believe we're all entrepreneurs, whatever level we are, whether we're budding, whether we're already yielding, growing fruit, or we've grown into a big tree. We're all female and we're all entrepreneurs. So I'd like you to imagine your business or your chain of business, because I believe that I'm speaking with people who carry vision, and at some point there's going to be an expansion of that vision. And so imagine you're in your office, regardless of what you do, whether you trade or you consult or you offer a service. So let's assume you open 8 a.m. every day, every working day, and maybe on Saturdays, but today's a Wednesday, and then you open at 8 a.m. Please keep your eyes closed. You open at 8 a.m. It's okay. People are still, getting, they're growing into their day. And then it's 9 a.m. There's not been any phone call. There's not been any, when I say phone call, I mean official phone call. There's not been anyone who dropped by to check something. I'm sure you're thinking, okay, is possibly probably a very slow day. People are, like I said, growing into their day. At times people need to really boot to get into the activities of the day. But now it is real life. It's 12:45. And as at 12:45 today, not a single phone call, not a single individual has come in, I'm not talking about your friends. I'm talking about people who, as a customer or, give you business, no inquiry, no sales. And well, I'm sure that there's a feeling that is coming over you. And then let's fast forward, it's 4 p.m. And there's still not one phone call and not one inquiry, not one person has passed by. And then I think we can open our eyes now. Okay, so what feelings did we have? Hey, Messi says, oh no, that's really, Tehila, terrible, disappointed, sad, worried, anxiety, despair, very bad feeling of neglect. I don't know. Sitabile says she doesn't know how to express the hurt. Wow. Bolarinwa says it has paused, disappointment, not too good, quite disheartening, quitting, scared actually, disheartening experience, disappointment and self-doubt. Erica says she'll just close. Rita says the moment I said 4 p.m., she went, disappointing, terrible, great. Thank you very much. I like the feedback, and that just tells us.
Let me take some comments. Let me take some comments from YouTube. We have some comments on, because we're also streaming.
Great. Oh, great.
We have about 100 people on YouTube too.
Oh, great.
So Elizabeth says self-doubt. Judith says worried. Grace says heartbroken. Tony says terror. Robina says disappointed, failure. Stone says felt lost, self-doubt. That's all. I'll take.
Lightness, I love that name. Lightness says, something is wrong. God, what have I done? Wow. Okay, so the reason that I did that exercise really is not to, but I love the feedback I'm getting both on Zoom and on YouTube. And it tells that, I'm dealing with human beings like me. I'm dealing with real humans, and some people can say, oh, they will go the next day, they will go. But the truth is, there is indeed a problem. And the reason I do that exercise is also because it's important to understand why we're in business. It's important to understand why and when I use the word business, I'm not just using it as in someone is trading. Whether you're building, the biggest telco, you're building the biggest bank, it is a business. That's the truth. There's a reason we're in business. It's not so much for us. It's really about the fact that someone needs a service. So there's a need, there's a gap, and we are filling the gap. Now, I tend to tell people, no matter how good you are, you can't use up all your products. You can, and if your business is in the area of knowledge, you also can't use up. It's not for you. And so the customer is very important to us. Extremely important, whether a good customer or I know that there are some very difficult customers, and I'm sure some of us too are difficult customers to other people, so it is just to put a context to how important the customer is, in our organizations, in the business. So let me just share my screen and then we just hit it right off. And thank you for participating in that exercise. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, can anyone see my screen now? Yes, okay.
Yes, we can.
Great, okay. I'd also like to leave we can all note, I want you to Google the story of, it's called United Bricks Guitars. At the end of the session, please do check. I'm sure some of us have seen it. She is already nodding. Please do go and just watch it. It's quite interesting. It became a Harvard Business School case study where the United Airlines lost about 180 million in terms of their share price in about a day or two, just because of poor customer service. And so I think that that's good enough that we have put a context to a stakeholder that is very key, to us succeeding in business, and that is the customer. And I know someone is asking, is there a time to ever de-customer someone? Is there a time to, but I'm sure we'll get to that point. So this afternoon, we'll be talking about designing and executing, a winning CEX, that's customer experience strategy. So I might use some words interchangeably. So whenever I say customer experience, customer service, customer care, I'm trying to tie into all. But I know that it all started with customer service, it became customer care, and then we're talking about customer experience. That's the evolution. But I'm sure from time to time, I'm going to use them, interchangeably. So we'll be talking about how to design and execute a winning customer experience strategy. Okay. So this is just data telling us about the outlook for CEX in 2021 to 2022. A few facts says about 68% of customers are impressed when they're sent. This was out of a research. Let me start with the first one. 79% of customers say a personalized experience is more important than a personalized marketing. Then we'll note there what really is an experience. 44% say customers say they have received the wrong answer from customer service in the past. 72% of customers expect agents or salespeople to know about their previous engagements. 68% of customers are impressed when sent proactive notifications. This is I just took this out. And the reason why I'm focusing on maybe notifications, experience marketing is because I also recognize that in as much as we want to deliver great customer experience, we're in business to meet a need and at the same time, make money, make profit, because it's not charity. When you want to do charity, you can create something, in your business that gives to, that does some corporate social responsibility, but largely it's about meeting a need first and then making profit in the process of meeting that need. Now, so it's really looking at 2021 into 2022 and a bit even deeper into the future. You can read researches by McKinsey, Gartner, Forrester, and it's all about how do we drive value through proactive service. That's what customer experience is becoming. Proactive service. Don't wait until the customer gets to you. Is there any way you can get to the customer? Imagine what the customer is going through because you have data on your customer. Another thing is about digital channels and capabilities. How do we leverage digital? I'm sure last year was a tough one. I know research has also shown that a lot of us women, most of the businesses that suffered last year were female-led businesses. And I know that it can be difficult in terms of funding. I also follow a lot of this. But, the good thing is that research has also shown that angel investors say that they receive, I think, $2 more for every dollar, or is it up to $5 more for every dollar advanced to a female entrepreneur? So that means there's value in what we bring. The research confirms that there's more value gotten back. And this is feedback from angel investors, that they get more value from female-led businesses than the male-led businesses. And so it is all about digital channels and capabilities. Because if you talk about the value we can bring to the table, then we need to enable that value. And some of the ways we can enable the value is through digital channels and digital capabilities. Another very key insight is the VOC is the voice of the customer. Voice of the customer and customer experience become key across all channels. And of course, another one is that how do we manage talent in the digital era? Now, I know Sheyi is a HR person, and I know that, at least I know that you're a guru in HR. I know that HR would tell you talent in the organization is about the people, the people, the people. But I've come to realize that that's the staff, internal people. One of the greatest, in fact, the greatest talent that you can also have within your organization is your customer. And so the same way that maybe organizations have talent management processes, how do you begin to manage your customers as though they are actual talents that the business, cannot do without? So whether you're managing internal talent or the customer as a talent, it's important to understand how to manage talent in the digital era. And this begins to underscore the need for some form of insights generation, which speaks to data. Some people choose to call it big data, small data, however you choose to call it. Now, there's a signpost there, and I'd like to just highlight a few things just under the diagram or the insights. The first thing is SMEs do not fully appreciate the value of customer experience management. Instead, more focus is placed on sales and product enhancements. Let's keep this at the back of our minds. It costs 5 times more to acquire a new customer than to retain an existing customer. And maybe because of what happened even last year, it might be costing, it will cost more because a lot of this inflation that are setting across economies in Africa, Nigeria, I see that, and I see across Africa, and even in developed world. America is rolling out, about, is it 4 trillion? I can't remember how many trillions of dollars, in terms of safety net initiatives, because things are bad. The same with the UK. So if we said, if before 2020, we used to say cost 5 times more, to acquire a new customer than to keep an existing one, then in 2021, I would like to say maybe it's costing us 8 times more or even up to 10 times more to acquire. So as SMEs, we found that, and this is research, a lot of focus is around sales and how do I enhance my product? How do I make it visible? How do I do this? How do I do that? And then at times, customer experience is left hanging in the balance. Now, Forbes has reported that 86% of buyers are willing to pay more for better customer experience. And this is not just Forbes. I run this as a survey every year. And 8.5 out of 10 people tell you that they're willing to pay more. People want to pay more when they know that they can have good service. They can have a great experience. Now, research by McKinsey also has found that brands that improve their customer experience, of course, it results into increase in revenues. Remember, I said 8 times or even about 10 times more to acquire a new customer. Now, brands that improve customer experience, what they end up doing is that they save on this times 10 and times 5 that it costs you to acquire a new customer. They tend to save on it, and then they can nurture the existing customers, to a point where those customers become advocates, for the brand. Now, just follow me. I'm sure we'll have a Q&A session, after. It's important not to see our customers as outsiders in the business. Recall that the first exercise was to even determine how important or otherwise a customer is. And I think from our responses, it's clear. We understand that the customer is extremely important. And so co-creation is very important for us. The reason being that the customer of today is sophisticated. The customer of today probably understands, has more knowledge than even we do, maybe as entrepreneurs. And I'll tell you why. You see, as an entrepreneur, it's possible that, and it's very important that you become a subject matter expert in your line. You can't become a generalist. You become a subject matter expert in your line of business. You understand, the environment, how the environment is impacting an environment. I'm talking about whether policy, because a government policy can swing things. You have that understanding. But you see, the customer you're dealing with out there has a broader understanding of everything. Because information, I always say, has been democratized thanks to Google, and all of that. And so they have so much information. They understand, they're present on the digital platforms the same way you are. Some of our customers might even have more presence on social media, digital channels than we do. And those customers are digitally, they're digital. I want to say a lot of them are digital natives, and they're also technologically savvy. And so take, for instance, I work in telecoms, and a lot of times it's a customer that has shown me a phone, a particular type of new phone that maybe I've not seen before. The customer brings it and we look, okay, how does this now impact the customer experience? That because the customers are, the truth, they are ahead. And so that is why you must see your customers as a pool of value, a store of value that you can co-create with. And why do we need to co-create? It's because so that you can deliver customer experiences that suit them. Now, why is customer experience important? It's important because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I think it was Maya Angelou that said, people don't remember the things you said. They don't remember the things the whole of the slides you presented, but they remember how you made them feel. And that is where experience comes in. And you see, someone that has a good experience, and you all can testify, will go back to that place. Some of us wonder why we're still with some service providers. And when I say service provider, it could be your barber, it could be your hairdresser, it could be your fashion designer. But because the person has come with you and the person kind of understands you, even when they've done the wrongest things, your dress was not ready at that time, they just have a way of warming themselves back to you. That is experience. Doesn't mean what they did is right, but they understand the importance of experience. And that is why I'd like to say this afternoon that, you see, what you're selling or what you're putting on offer is not your product. It should not be your product. It should be the experience that you create with your product. Because that is what you live with people. And so when we talk about co-creating with customers, we're just still talking about the voice of the customer. Is the voice of your customer loud? Doesn't mean that your customer is really going to be the one to come in and design your product. No. But you have a process where you get the voice of the customer back in. You have sessions where you sit with your customers and you elicit ideas from them. Oh, forgive me, please. It seems I forgot to put my phone on silent. I've done that now. Okay. So you elicit ideas from them, and then you can use it to make the business better. And these are some customers we put here. How I know that BMW, for instance, they have an open innovation source. And the reason why I've used this types of businesses or organizations is because I believe that we're building things that will outlive us. I believe that consciously and intentionally, it's about putting our businesses on the world map. And so I know that BMW, they from time to time do an open innovation with their customers. And some of their cars have actually been designed using input from those customers. The same thing with Adidas, IKEA, they do that a lot. Unilever does that a lot. They call in customers, sample products, and then they're building on it and making sure at the end of the day is fit for the customer. So it's very important to understand that your customers, I think it was Bill Gates that says that our customers are, they're books from which we learn because they give us feedback. And so a very important customer experience strategy is to co-create with our customers. Now, another thing is that we need to build actionable insights. Can we still see my slides? Okay, good. And so there's something I put up there. You're only as good as what you know. Understanding your customer is the foundation of building a great customer experience. Now, how do we build actionable insights? We have data from our customers on a day-to-day basis. You have data on what is selling. You have data on, how certain types of customers interact with your brand. Maybe the customers that are a particular age group and above, or the customers that are a particular age group and below. That is insight. Now, you can use this insight to push your brand forward. And that is how you begin to understand your customer. I say something around, at a point, we wanted the share of the customer's wallet. The share of the customer's wallet, the share of the customer's wallet. But now when we talk about customer experience, we're talking about the share of the customer's lifestyle. How much can you be, embossed or engraved into your customer's lifestyle that in a day, in 2 days, in a week, your customer must touch base with you? Doesn't mean they're buying something. They may not be buying anything from you, but they must check with your brand. And the only way to do that is to create a great customer experience for them. Now, when we talk about actionable insights, for instance, you take, and we're still going to talk about how do you create personas for your business out of your customers. You can note and you find that a particular product moves faster in the rainy season than it does in the dry season. But you can only do
Okay, so I think some network issues there. I'm sure she'll be back shortly. Yes, for me, I think there's some network glitches. Let's give her some time. I'm sure it'll come up. Aha, I guessed it, network. So we can hear you, Ma.
Okay, I think something happened. I think my power tripped off, but it's back.
Okay.
So my router went off.
Yes,
my apologies. Yes. So
that's fine.
Okay, so I need to go back to sharing my screen.
Sharing your screen, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
So I was talking about actionable insights within the business. Sorry, I've just gone straight into it because I know we don't have so much time, and I try to take out some of the airy-fairy type things and just go straight to the meat. Now, there's actionable insights from inside the business, inside the organization. But there's also a lot of actionable insight from outside. And that's what I think we talk about the Potter's 5 forces. We talk about some of the things that help us understand the way that customers are thinking and the way that customers behave. The reason why I say this is because when you can do a SWOT, or SWOT is even a bit internal and external. But when you take a Paisley view of your cost of your business, of the environment, because that's an environmental stand. So you look at the political, the economic, the social, and you just technology, how is it changing? Is there legal thing around regulation that can change what you do? Because you can't afford to be isolated from those things. And then your environment, how are you impacting it? So you have to have internal insights that you can get, like I said, from the patterns and the trends that exist in your industry or in your business as at today. And, it's about who, what, where. So when you look at the who, is about who are you targeting? Now, who is the target of this product that you have, this service that you have? Who will be affected and who will benefit from it? Because you see, you might be targeting the wrong people. So you might be targeting, let me not say the wrong people. You might think your target market is really a particular market. But by the time you do the analysis of who is affected, who will benefit, you find that as much as you love young people, it's not young people that benefit from your business. It's actually young mothers, maybe. And so it helps clarity. Now you talk about what has happened, and that's where I talk about, trends and patterns. What are you discovering? What have you found? And what are the next steps? You go to the where, the when, and then the why. And I think that begins to put a story together and helps us to be able to pivot as we come, as the need, the need arises. Now, some of the key attributes of actionable insights is that there's an alignment, there's a context to it, it's relevant, it's specific, it's not just out there. It's novelty, yes, but it's not totally new all the time. Sometimes it's new, sometimes it's not. And then it's clear. And I put there that actionable insight is the missing between data and business value. The moment I get the insight, because all of us today here have data. You know what you sold, you know who bought, you know your regular customers. But how do we begin to, change that into actionable insights that benefit both us as entrepreneurs and even the customers as our own, customers? So you look at it and and some people, so I put an example there. A lot of us might have websites, or we have Instagram can be a mini website if you know how to use it. I'm not heavy on, I'm not too good at using social media. I have social media presence, but I'm not a guru there. But you see, how do people locate you? Your customer experience starts from understanding the point of how do people, search for you. So it's also, I talked about being proactive. It's about understanding that the experience starts from when a customer decides, I need this service. When they decide, how do they locate you? Now, when they locate, how do they get support, especially if it's something that they frequently need to come back to you, for support? And after support, the truth is at times they need to exit. That's the truth. We don't want our customers to leave, but there are times, yes, a customer decides maybe change of strategy. Hey, they need to move on. But is the process of exit, is it well managed? Because if it is well managed, it can come back into a process of sale. I hope I'm communicating. Okay.
Yes, you are, ma'am.
Good. So, and I focus this around, entrepreneurs. Maybe if I was talking with a set of people who are employed, it would be a bit different. And so let's just look at it. Say 60% of people buy a product after reading a blog post about the product. Content plays a powerful role in boosting customer experience. And the reason is because we live in a world today that people want, look, I tell people all buying, and please understand, all buying is emotional. It is. Everything that is bought from you is based on an emotional decision. And when I say emotional, it could be because I need it, but there's this thing around, so I need it and I have 10 people. If there's something the customer of today has, is the multiplicity of choice. Is amazing. But the good, the bad, the not so, but the customer is spoiled for choice. And so it's gone are the days where, you definitely know, the customer will come back, even without me doing anything. It's not like that. And the thing about today's customer, we know that we have a choice. And at times we use it to hold business people captive, when somebody's negotiating, because the person knows that they have a choice. And so I think it's important for us to know that customer experience is about making people feel good in the process of parting with value, knowing fully well that they are gaining even more value from it. So the value they part with is economic value. And you are meeting their need by also parting with value for them is an exchange. And so when people feel they're not getting enough value, they feel they've been shortchanged, and it can be very emotional. There's a supermarket where I used to live. I went to buy stuff. I used to do all my family grocery shopping there. And when I had my last daughter, this was 10 years, she's 10. 10 years ago, I was still on maternity leave. I wanted to buy this flip-flops for her, but that has a sling at the back. So I bought for herself and her older sister, and I took it home. It didn't fit my baby, and I took it back to the store. And the moment, they were all smiling at me, but the moment I said I wanted to return something, the countenance changed. And the lady at the till that I would speak with and all of that was like, no, she can't take it back. I took it, I bought it in the morning, I returned it in the evening. And they weren't going to take it. And then I said, okay, can I see your supervisor? Initially, they kept telling me, oh, the supervisor is not around, he's not around. Eventually, I told them, I'm not going to leave this place. There were a lot of people in the store. I need to. And then I saw the supervisor, and the supervisor too was telling me, a lot of stories. It wasn't perishable. It wasn't underwears. It wasn't anything. And what had happened that day, I told them, I said, you know what, I'm going to leave this, both my money and your product with you, but I'll never come back. And I'm going to tell everybody how bad your service is. It's been 10 years. I've not gone back there. My mom keeps telling me, oh, as a Christian, you should forgive. I say, I'm forgiving them. I don't have any problems with them, but I'm not going. They have my money. They have their own product, and they have my money. I never went back there. I teach customer experience a lot. So if we were only Nigerians on this call, I give their name freely and I talk about them. That's the truth. And I do it deliberately. And that is the power that a customer has. But you have even more power than the customer. Do you know why? You can prevent that thing could have been prevented. And so we live at a time, and I have so many, examples like that. We live in a time where it's about social media. And so it's a content type generation that we all have found ourselves in. Whether you are Gen Z, Gen Y, even there's Gen C now. Gen C is the COVID generation, the people who were born, last year into early this year. And so a lot of us want to read, they want content out there. Content is really king. but context enables content. And the context here is customer experience. And so you find a lot of customers are they're doing their own research. So like I said, the customer is spoiled for choice. And so they go on and check company A or shop A, shop B, shop C, shop D. And then they make up, their minds, because it's also a feeling that because of this content that I've gotten, I think I'll get more value from this person, even though the person with the lesser content might be given more value. But you see, there's no time to try it all out. And so that is also an attraction. What do you look like to your customer out there? Remember, I said that building a great customer experience starts from the time your customer starts contemplating to buy. And then how do they find you and all of that. So content is very key. Now, here you see, can you add video content? Can you build your email list? A lot of people are buying from us. How much of data do you have? Recall I talked about insights. And the data is from their emails, their phone numbers. Do we collect these things? And hear me, it's not just for the purpose of selling. You can build, I once took a class and a lady said, but she deals in wedding gowns. People get married only once. And I smiled. I said, no, you're right that people get married only once, but don't forget, hopefully they get to stay a lifetime. And mark my words, hopefully they get to stay a lifetime in their marriage. And what that means is that you could build a community of your customers out of that. Do you know their names? Do you know your customers? Do you know their names? We talked about personalized experiences. Do you know their names? Do you have their contact? Do you even know their dates of birth or their anniversaries? Those things are very important because those are the things that endear a brand to a customer or a customer to a brand. Now, the thing why it is important that you begin to have all of that is because you're selling to one customer today. That customer has in their sphere of influence about 10 other people. It's not only about the big adverts that you do out there, but one customer you treat right, the same way they can bring down the business if you treat them wrong, is the same way they can advocate for your business if you treat them well. And so, it says you can build an email list, send weekly newsletters, helpful blogs. It doesn't all have to be around what I do, what I sell. And so this video content, very important for customer, experience. Okay. A great way, to build emotional connection is to personalize your interaction with your customers. And that is what I was talking about. Do you know them? It's easier for you to create experiences when you know your customers. And that's when segmentation comes in. So you can have a business where you cater for diverse age groups. But do you know that you can segment your customers? You can use demography. It can be age, it can be gender, it can even be geographic, because you might find that some areas, there's certain things that are peculiar, and then you segment them, and then you now begin to work on your product to see how it can really fit and is tailored to them because of their peculiarities as women, as men, as young people, as married people, as singles. You can go into nano segmentation. And so it's important. This data I'm talking about will help you personalize your interaction with your customers. So for instance, a customer wants to know that you call them Odunayo, not Mr. Customer, not Madam Customer. A customer feels good that you know them. Oh, so they know me. So they realize I've been coming here to buy stuff. I've been coming here to coming to their website to check out, things. So personalized interactions are very critical, and they help to break the ice with the customer. I'm sure that, and I do that a lot. So people who have worked with me, a lot of people, I know their husbands' names, the names of their husbands, and I know the names of their children. Now, when I meet people who I don't know them, and I call them, the reason is because no matter how tense things are, the moment you begin to ask people how's their family and you can call the names, you see them just melt away. They just become calm. And then they now, then the tension is, you're dousing the tension, and then you can have a meaningful, conversation. And it's the same thing with us in terms of being entrepreneurs. You must understand, know your customer, very, very important. And it says you'll be able to make product recommendations based on their purchase histories. I've talked about this. Offer them a free product or a gift once a while. It's very, very important. I know we're SMEs here, but I'm sure that you can get, so I'm not, maybe not a free product, but you can give them discounts. You can build it into what you do. Because someone who's spending so much wants to look back to see that they actually gave me something. So I'll give you an example of my hairdresser. She sent me a Christmas gift. It wasn't anything big. It was just a small plastic bowl. But I think for me, the thought counted much more than the cost of what I got. It was not so much. And I kept saying, no, they didn't have to bother. And they said, no, that I'd been their customer. They know my children. And they always, at times they call me to say, they know I made my hair how many weeks ago, and they think I should, come and take it out because it could this. But and then when I say, oh no, I'm not ready to take it, you know what they do? They just tell me what I can do, what more I can do up until to prevent my hair from breaking up until the time I feel like coming to the salon. And that is customer experience. It doesn't cost, an arm and a leg. I know time is against us. Now, this is very key. Who is driving customer experience in your business? Let me interrupt myself by saying this again. The reason why we're talking about customer experience is that it can cost you your whole business. It's not just a good to have. It can cost you your whole business. I'll tell you another story. There's a big mall beside my house, and there was this shawarma place there. And I picked my daughters from school in the afternoon then, and this was 2019. And they said they wanted shawarma, and they wanted it from that particular place. And we drove in. And I got into the place. And one of my daughters said, Mommy, please note, that man is going to pick out the sausage without his gloves. And I started observing. I didn't want to be too, I told my daughter to calm down, that she should, because she was like, Mommy, tell her. I said, let's see. And when I truly, the guy was going to pick it out without wearing his gloves. And I said, no, that you can't use your hand to pick what I'm going to eat. And the guy blew up. And he just started shouting and shouting. Now, there were 3 other people in that particular store. And each one of them, it was, school was over. I observed the list was me. I came with 2 of my children. Another woman came with 4 of her children. A man had like another 4 children, his own children with him. And they had all come. And the guy went on and on. I'm not going to tell him what to do. I had paid with my card. And the moment he started, I gave them my card and I asked for something very difficult. I said, put my money back on my card. I need to leave. if this is how you treat your customers, and I turned to the other 3 people, I said, you know what, if I'm you, in front of them, I won't buy from here. I would leave. And the woman said, Madam, thank you very much, because I've been coming here. This is not my first time. I said, that was my first time. But she said they come there every week for the last God knows how many years. But that this is just, do you know the woman left with her children? The other 2 men left with their children. And of course, I made things difficult for them. I said, you know what, put my money back on my card. I knew it was difficult. They couldn't do it. And I said they had to give me back my money. Eventually, they had to give me cash, and I walked out. And we all went to different, I saw everybody walking with their children to different, it wasn't a shawarma store, but it was food. And I think children that afternoon, everybody just wanted ice cream or something. And what happened is that woman swore as she was going, she was muttering under her breath that she will never come here again. And I never went back there again. Eventually, that business shut down. I'm not saying, but you can imagine how many more customers. And that is who is driving customer experience in your business. Very important. Because you know what? Who drives it can make or mar your business. And the reason I say this is that a lot of us think that customer experience is that small front end, the reception. We think it's a particular division within, is a particular unit. The customer service unit can deal with it. The receptionist can deal with it. Hello? That's not true. Customer service is not a unit. It is culture. It is culture. That means, and I'm sure that, I think it was Warren Buffett that said that, culture eats strategy for breakfast, no matter how good your strategy is. If culture is bad, it will mess it up big time. No, you can bring the best people, bring people from all over the world to do a good strategy for you. If there's no corresponding, culture, if there's not a corresponding strong culture that will deliver on that strategy, it's going to fall face flat. And so it's important. I need you to cast your minds back. Are you thinking that customer service is just a unit? It's not, it's a culture. So who is driving? Now, look back at the examples I've given, and I've given, personal examples that I experienced. The truth is, if the owners of the business, those businesses, understood that customer experience is indeed a tipping point, it's a point where it's a go or no go decision to part with value on the part of the customer, they'll do better, possibly. They will make all their employees understand the importance of customer experience. They will make sure that they really understand who the customer is to the business, and they will behave in such, the culture will deliver on the strategy. And so it's important for us to remove silos. How do your salespeople work? I know some of us here, it's not just, yes, we might call ourselves small businesses, small, medium businesses, but I'm sure some of us are, the rate of growth is huge. And some are still in the process of growing. But the truth is, the salespeople are customer experience merchants. Recall I said that what we're selling is experience. They need to understand that themselves, the customer care unit, the technical unit, everybody is a customer experience practitioner, should be a customer experience practitioner within your organization. And so the culture that you must have is a culture that it can be designed together with the employees, but putting your vision in the middle to say, this is what this business is about. Therefore, we are not going to, tolerate X, Y, Z. It starts with how you recruit. Because interviewing people can tell you, look, is this one going to deliver good experience or not? And so it starts from profiling who you want to be a part of your business, to work in there. And yes, these things, they're not so expensive to do. These are things you can do by yourself. 1 or 2 questions during an interview will tell you whether this person will indeed, champion the cause of your customer. And don't understand, it's not about championing the cause of the customer to the point where the business becomes extinct. That's not what we're talking about. But balancing it and giving value, to the customer. And it's not only at the point of sale. Recall I talked about, from the point the customer makes a decision to how the customer locates you, to how the customer buys and how they pay, and, how do they get support? And then we talk about exit, should in case there's a need for an exit for the customer for various reasons. And I also said the way that we manage exits might create another loop for a sale. And so it's important that even after the customer has bought from us, are we checking in? Or we've made a sale and that's the end of it. So very important, who is driving customer experience within our organization. And everybody is, like I said, a customer experience merchant. I will try to begin to round up. This is just talking about, how do you create a customer-centric culture? I'll focus on the diagram there. Stage 1 is like the gate. That's where you agree what the culture should be, and everyone speaks to it, and we all agree. Now, the fence is where people there's like a roadshow within your organization to say, this is what we are, this is who we are going forward, or this is the way we should behave going forward towards our customers. And the third one is the house, where, as the lead for the business, it's important that you create an environment where customer experience can thrive. And how does customer experience thrive? I'd like you to read the examples of Starbucks. Read the Starbucks story very, very, it just tells you how they created a culture of drinking coffee for Americans. It was totally alien. It's an Italian culture, but they created a culture, and everyone now loves Starbucks. And so it's important that this guy, Craig McVoy, recommends that the culture has to come from the top of the business and flow down. Now, you create the culture bottom up, you create it together, but leadership has to take ownership. So when leadership takes ownership, it's easier for followership, to key in to it. Okay, so I talked about building customer personas earlier. Now, let's understand, we're not selling to a number. We're not selling to number 1, number 2. We're actually dealing with human beings. And that's why I talk a lot about the emotional part of it. That is what keeps them coming back. And like I said, that's why somebody would have done something, but you just find, okay, I'll still go back, because over and over again, they make you feel good. The experience with them has been good. And so you're willing to make an excuse for the times that they didn't do too well. And so it's really about, what are the customers' preferences? What are the customers' pain points? All this you can get via the voice of the customer. And how do you get the voice of the customer? Surveys. You can deploy surveys. Somebody comes, it can be, online surveys. It can be paper-based, because investing in a survey solution might cost some money, and we're small businesses here. It can be just voice, and people respond, and you put it all together. So by then you understand their preferences, daily routine. I talked about moving from share of wallet to the share of lifestyle. What is their daily routine? How do you fit in? And the task today is that don't just think of yourself as selling something. Think of yourself as impacting a life. as impacting a lifestyle of someone. Now, when you have that broader thinking, it's easy for you to see how you can fit yourself into a daily routine of a customer. And when we talk about daily routines, doesn't mean it's every day, but something that, they can't go without for a long period, of time. And like I said, it's not because at that point they are always buying, no, but it could just be calling you to say, how you doing? The same way, because you have been calling them to say, oh, how are they doing? And then they look forward to that call. They look forward to the call, and they just look forward to interacting with you and your business. What are their aspirations? A lot of the things here, it will only come from, people when you begin to engage with them a bit more frequently. If it's a one-off, it's difficult because they go and then another one comes, they go. But the more you interact with them, you find that it becomes easier. And some of these interactions might be a lead onto your other businesses that you might be creating, complementary businesses. You may not know. So a customer tells you, has bought something from you today, and the customer is saying, okay, so let me use a very, very basic example. So someone is selling beans. That's why I say very basic example. You're selling beans, and there's something, I know that bread and beans, I'm Nigerian, so maybe the Nigerians here will understand. It's not a bad combination to have. So you're selling beans, people come, they buy the beans, and they go. Why don't you add selling? So you're telling a customer, and a customer says, I'm going to the next store to buy bread. So why can't you start selling bread? And that is what interacting with customers, your customers will do for your business. It might, not in all instances, but it might lead you on to what they need. And you might find that some of those things are very complementary to what you currently do. And you begin to also offer it as a service to them. And then by the time you know the customer, for instance, I don't think I put that slide here. I think I tried to edit the slides just before I got on because of time. Well, maybe I'll send it to Sheyi and she'll share. So you can have different personas. So there's a persona of a tech young lady, but she's techie. So if you have maybe a business for women, you deal in stuff that, is only for women. So there's the tech young lady who, she's young, she's in her 20s, but she needs what your business has to offer. Then there's the other housewife who she's, let me not say housewife, but she works from home. Her office is in the home. She does her own business. Let me say an entrepreneur. So she works from the home. She has children. She's married. She needs stuff from you. Now, there's even this other segment. They're not women. They are men. But because they have to buy that stuff for their wives, they are also your customers. The truth is, you're not going to talk to them in the same way. You're not going to engage them in the same way. And that's what understanding customer personas will do, for your business. So how do you create a persona? Identify your target customer, put them, segment them. How do you want to reach them? Remember that you can have many platforms. Some people is Instagram, LinkedIn, this, everybody, everywhere. But some people will only reach you and you can only reach on Instagram. Some people you can only reach on Twitter. I know there's an issue with Twitter in Nigeria, but I know that Twitter exists still over Africa. So in other countries, some people may prefer Twitter. Some people may actually prefer, the telephone. This begins to help you understand how to target them. And it helps you for your messaging. Because your message on the phone is likely not going to be the same with your message, with a message on Twitter, especially the fact that Twitter even has its own, the characters restricted, exactly. And then you continue to, and this doesn't happen in a day. You can do it and attempt to do this. But as you get more information, you get good at it. But the danger is never starting to do it. It can be very dangerous. Sorry, I'm trying to look at check the time. Now, another important thing is customer lifestyle management, which is what I've talked about. From the time they come to how do they locate you, to how do they buy, that's acquisition. How do you support them? How do you retain? And do you have any form of loyalty for them? These are very key points. And it won't take too much of your time, but it's important as entrepreneurs to design, to design what you want the customer to feel. Sheyi, for circulation, I would share with you a sample of a customer journey. So what are the emotions that at the point of approach, acquisition, that's where they buy, they develop, as in they begin to use, do they need support? What do you want them to feel and what do you want them to experience? It's important to have this, I believe that the dullest pen is sharper than, the sharpest brain, because the moment you commit it to writing, then you can follow through. And that is what designing a customer experience is. How do you want to be found? You can choose the Google options, search engine, options, and all of that. Purchase keywords there. I'm not an expert in that, but I do know some things about that. How do you want to be found? Is it your website? Is it your Instagram page? Now, when people get there, how do they locate you? When they get there, what do you want them to experience? Do you want them to experience the fact that, they've come to a place where they're loved, they've come to a place where they will find help? Or you just want them to experience that, look, we're just here to sell to you and that's it. It can come through in the way those interfaces are designed. How do they pay? I know that's a big challenge for a lot of, but a lot of payment-based startups are coming up, making that easy. Because the moment customers the moment the payment process is not seamless, it becomes very difficult, for them to buy from us again and again. As human beings, the moment something is too difficult, we pull away. Well, that's me, and I see a lot of people are also like that. And so you look at it, critical customer lifecycle or lifestyle management metrics. You respond, the cost of, I've talked about the cost of customer retention or acquisition. So for you, it's about, I can retain the customers I have, rather than continuously being in the search for new customers. While I retain, I can get more from them to be able to at least get new customers. But the washing machine effect is when, as you are getting, you're losing, you're getting, you're losing. That's what we call the washing machine effect. And at the end of the day, the net position is zero. And you don't want to be in that position as an entrepreneur. Remember, it's clear, when business to meet a need and make profit. I think I'm rounding up. Sorry, this is not so clear. This talks about customer experience and the bottom line. I still put this there. The reason is because a lot of people think customer experience is airy-fairy, you can't, it's not tangible, but it is tangible. It is tangible. Let me tell you why I say it's tangible, because I've seen it. I've practiced customer service experience, customer care for about the bulk of my career. About 24 years has been in customer experience, and I've seen it. I've seen the cycles, but a lot of businesses, even some big businesses, they still don't get it. Now, the thing is, every time you interact with a customer, you leave a portion of yourself with them, and I'd like to read this quote on the screen. It says, each interaction a customer has with your brand shapes their perception of you. And those perceptions translate to money, whether it's spent or not. That's the truth. And one thing that I know about the bottom line is that I always tell people I know if I took I don't know how many people are into healthcare, sorry, skincare in Powen. I don't know, but let's use that as an example. I know that if I ask somebody into skincare, especially when you natural skincare, I ask you who your competition is. You're going to name the other skincare companies. You're going to talk about L'Oreal. You're going to talk about even some that may be homegrown in your locality. But let me shock you. Your competition is not somebody in your industry alone. Yes, your competition is anybody that can take money from a potential buyer and make that buyer change their minds towards you. So I tell people, I work in telco, and I always tell people our greatest competition is not even the other telcos. It can be Coca-Cola. Some people are so addicted to Coke, it's unbelievable. They'll rather buy a bottle of Coke than recharge their phones. I have a sister, my younger sister is like that. She can smuggle Coke into, her children always warn her, but I wonder what you can do to a woman in her mid-40s being addicted to Coke. So you find that it's not just those people in your immediate sector. Is anyone who can take money, who can divert money that a customer might have used to buy stuff from you, and the customer uses it to buy stuff from another, a totally different, to meet a different need. And so let's understand that competition for us is anyone who can, take money from your customer's pocket, from their wallet, and make the customer not take a buying decision on your behalf. And there are times, even when the customer, as this quote suggests, when the customer has not made a buying decision, but the customer has carried away a perception of you. And then the customer is telling stories like the ones I've told today, and is telling people, oh, don't go near those people, they don't treat their customers well. And you won't know why. But perhaps if there was the voice of the customer, if you called your customer, you got feedback from them in however manual the way is. It doesn't have to be a big automation. Even manual on paper is survey. You might have found out that, wow, that customer was not satisfied. And then you can place a call to the customer and say, yes, I feel some people saying, this customer experience is demanding. Yes, it is demanding, because it will keep you in business. You need to close the loop with your customer. Yes, there are times the customer has said, I didn't feel too good. It's good to close the loop, call the customer, send an email, and just say, you read it and you'd like the customer to share the experience, and ask the customer, how could it have been better? And so let's read some of the things here. Experience impacts the bottom line for better or for worse. It says 62% of customers say they share bad experiences with other people. Example of me. I feel free, I don't hide it at all. You see, I've told you so much of bad experiences. I haven't even shared a good one. 57% of customers have stopped buying from a company because a competitor provided a better experience. Now, 72% of customers say they share good experiences with others. So if 62% are sharing bad experiences, 72% share good experiences. So why can't we, replicate good experiences and, just share them, push them, and let people begin to advocate for our brand? And 67% of customers say they'll pay more for a great experience. And I think, I wanted to say ladies and gentlemen, but beautiful ladies of power. I think this is clear that, customer, I think I'm done. Customer experience is the way to go. And there's no better place to focus on customer experience than when you are growing your business. The way they say that is like growing seeds. You planted seeds and you nurture them and they grow. and then your customer experience will help you keep your customers. It will create complementary inroads for you to other products. And of course, it will keep your customers coming. Thank you very much for having me. I know I've taken time. Thank you, Sheyi. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you so much, Ma. We have loads of questions. I don't even know how we're going to do it, but I'm just going to take 10 questions. Okay. I know we have more than 40 questions, but I'll just take 10 and also try to summarize the questions. And
sorry, Sheyi, just to say, you can send the questions, I'll respond and send back to you, and then you can share, maybe by email or
email. Okay, thank you so much, Ma. The comment about being addicted to Coke. Okay. Not saying
I saw you were all.
No, mine is bad. Mine is.
Oh God.
Good Lord. Okay, so we have Chizoba from Congo. Did I pronounce it well? I don't know. Well, she's from Congo and she's asking, talking about customer experience, how can someone in poultry production, integrate customer experience into what she does?
Okay. So the one thing I don't think I mentioned, customer experience is not an afterthought. Is designed, is part of the design. So Chizoba, if the name is correct, like you said, you're not sure about the pronunciation. Forgive me if I didn't pronounce it well. But you look and you say, let's go back. Do like if your business were to start tomorrow, how would you design your experience? And you see, customer experience is first in your line of business will be a bit about your employee experience. Will be a bit about, how you treat your birds. The eggs that are laid, very important. And the reason is because you can begin, for instance, to create content where a storytelling, I found that the digital world there's a lot of storytelling ongoing. You can begin to tell customers the type of experience they will get by and the nutrition they will get by patronizing you because of the way you do your things. And so someone says, well, okay, let me try this person out. Now, customer experience is about getting the data of everyone who buys either the birds or the eggs from you, whether they're distributors or I'm sure you will have both people come to take in bulk and they sell, and then you have a few people that are retail customers coming, consumers coming. It's about how do you create, what community have you created out of your distributors, for instance? Do you check on them? Do you let them know anything? Do you share with them information about the type of business that they're in? That is also customer experience because your retailers or your distributors are your customers. Now, where individuals walk in, the same thing. In the process of, it's about how do you attend to them? From the time somebody is taking their order, let me use that, to the time it's being fulfilled. How long does it take? What are the words that are used? Customer experience is very interesting. Do you have people saying, please, I'm on break, I need to go, right in front of a customer? So there's certain small things we can deal with. The culture, build a culture into your poultry business. And these are some of the things. Send out newsletters about how important it is. They said, is it an egg a day? I know they've also said an egg a day or an egg a week keeps the doctor at bay, and all of that. How it's amazing that customer experience can be that you create a blog and you're talking about what you can use poultry meat to do. You're talking about what you can use eggs to do and the nutrition for them. You're not telling them to just buy. But like I said, it's about casting your minds back. Assume your business was to start tomorrow. How would you do it? So it's about deliberate design. The culture regardless of the fact that it is a poultry business, the culture that goes through is very important. And that is how you can, for that type of business, you can embed customer experience in it so that the staff understand. And it also starts from, the person who feeds the chicks. How do they treat the person who's making the sale? Even the internal culture within your business those are some ways you can deal customer experience in it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll just take a few questions since we'll be emailing the questions to you, so as to manage our time. So there's a question here from Olorato from Botswana, who says, so how often should I send customer satisfaction surveys in order to measure and to be sure that I'm on track? Let me add another question to that, so that you can answer it together. Someone from Swaziland had asked, Nosi from Swaziland had asked, and Zaina from Nigeria had asked, and what metrics should we use? How do we design and track customer experience metrics?
Okay. So customer experience metrics, some of it, could be your turnaround time. Some of it could be that, okay, how long does it take from the time it takes to fulfill an order, to place an order to the time to fulfillment. That's one. You want to make your turnaround time as short as possible because it can give you a competitive advantage. That's one. Now, number two is you can set for yourself a threshold of repeated purchases from the same customer. You might want to say that, okay, we expect that this customer will buy 3 more times from us. And then when you're just seeing one-off purchases, you might know there's a problem. Now, another metrics could be that the time it takes to resolve a customer issue, not only the time for the order. So what is your average speed of answer? A customer has made an inquiry, has reported a complaint, either by email, by phone, or whatever medium. How long or how short, is the time it takes you to respond? That's another thing. You can want to set, all mails, all general turnaround time, really. I've talked about speed of answer, response time, very critical. How long does it take your customers to wait? And that goes back to placing the order to fulfilling, the order. You can also want to measure by the NPS, the Net Promoter Score. It's very simple. There's no science to it. It's just about saying on a scale of 0 to 10, would you recommend us? It's a survey. Would you recommend, will the customer recommend your own business to other people? Now, the tricky thing about the survey is that until you get to 9 and 10, you're not doing well. Because if a customer scores you 0 to 6, that customer is a detractor. That's what the customer is called. That means the customer will not be loyal to your business because they've experienced one thing or the other. Now, 7 to 8, the customers are passives. They really don't care whether they got a good service or not. But by the time you're scoring 9 to 10, those customers are promoters because that means they will promote your brand. So you can use the NPS tool as a measure, but it's good to always have not just on a scale of 0 to 10, just have a few lines, maybe 3 lines for the person to state why. Why have they rated you? Either as a detractor, a passive, or a promoter, so that you can remember the key thing is to get those issues fixed. And then you can also measure yourself by the number of feedback that you fix, the actual resolution time. So not resolution time, actual resolution percentage. So 100 complaints, how many were you able to fix, and within what time, in what period? And did you get back to the customers by closing the loop? And the only way you move customer experience forward is that it must be in people's KPIs. KPIs, they are your key performance indicators that people are measured by. So that's the appraisal indicators. That's what they are. So you set it for them as targets. Those are the things you must do. And those are some of the things to measure. Now, you talk about how often we should do it. I don't think it should be too often. I think it should be maybe once a quarter you can get in touch with, because customers too can be survey fatigued. There are times too many people are throwing surveys. I would have said on a monthly basis. So maybe you want to start with monthly and then you move it out to at some point to quarterly. But I think the most important thing is not just doing it. It's not just doing it, but it's actually about implementation, ensuring that you close the loop, fix what needs to be fixed, remove the things that you need to remove, and I think you'll be good. The business will be good. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ma. One question that a lot of people seem to be asking, so we have about 6 or 7 questions around this, and I'm just going to sum everything up and summarize, is how do you handle difficult customers? And at what point do you make the call between letting a customer go and keeping on to gain the loyalty of that customer?
Yeah. Okay, I like that question. When a customer poses an existential threat to your business, you need to consider letting the customer go. And when I say existential threat, the customer it's been so difficult that the things the customer is doing can actually shut down your business. I think you need to let go. But there's also the process of letting go is very, very fragile, and you need to handle it, with care, because that a customer is difficult does not mean it's not liberty to treat the customer anyhow. It's never liberty to treat the customer anyhow, and it's never liberty, to be rude to the customer. I think it's just about ensuring that you have your ducks in a row, and at some point, the customer will need to go. So, for instance, a customer that is perpetually owing, and it's not like that customer cannot pay. It's not that. At a point, you need to put your, a shovel in the ground and say, you know what, I will still do business with you, but we need to clean up the mess that is already on the ground. You need to pay me. Let's clear that, and then we continue. So I think it's very important. I know even a company as big as AT&T, there was a time that a product line was discontinued, and they had to give up the customers. They gave the customers an option to migrate to another product. But the customers were like, no, they were so much in love with the product. And the company said they are no longer, supporting that product. And so, unfortunately, the customer, I think AT&T sent them letters to say that, look, they hate to see them go, but they should just know that anytime they need to come back, this is the tariff plan they will be on, and all of that. So I believe that if the customer is causing, there's an existential threat looming, and you need to let go because you have a business to run.
Thank you so much, Mai. It was like you saw the last question I wanted to pick, which was about debtors, how to manage debtors, and then you just latched on that. Thank you so much, Ma. This has really been an explosive session as usual. Ladies, we always get to the best. Do you agree now that she's the queen of customer experience? When I said it, I never called anyone the queen of any topic, but when it comes to customer experience, yes, she is the queen, undisputed queen in Africa and globally. Thank you so much, Ma. This has really been a very useful and an enlightening session. We are we are sure and we have no doubt in our minds that this will benefit our participants incredibly, and also benefit the bottom line, which really, at the end of the day, is all what we are about at the Aspiring Entrepreneurs Program. Thank you so much, Ma. God bless you
very much. Thank you. So on that note, I wish every queen on this
Queen of
platform,
queens.
yeah, I wish all of you, great success in business. I pray that we'll hear great things about you all. Thank you, Sheyi, for having me. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself, I must say. I've also gone through a few of the comments and I've learned it's amazing. I've learned so much. Thank you so very much. And like I said, please do share the.
Yes, I will. I will send them today. And also we'll be expecting the slides and the customer journey. You talked about that network again. Oh, okay. Yes, I can see you. Okay,
I just stopped sharing.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, but I'll send you an email shortly.
Okay then. Thank you very much. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you too, my ladies. Okay, so that's it for now. Just expect an email this weekend. I'll follow up with you all.